Welcome back to Learning Unity with the 3D Game Kit. In today's tutorial, we're going to dive into creating quest-related gameplay where killing enemies triggers events like opening doors and activating other actions. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started. To get this working, I'm going to go ahead and set up some sort of a context. So let's take our boss here that has been making me avoid this area here, and we're just going to move him up on this platform. Now, I just did my jump, so we probably can't get up here, and this is also going to create kind of a hilarious battlefield for this character to be on because it's so small. We're going to make it so it doesn't quite aggro right away, but let's go ahead and set up a scenario that allows us to get to this, like maybe setting up a moving platform here with a setup so it can actually access the boss in some way. All right, so we're going to set the end area here to maybe be near this area here so that it actually lifts up and our player can access it in some way. And then we're going to set the start area to be maybe down in this corner over here somewhere. I don't really know quite yet, but maybe just something like that. So that way the player can access it and can go from point A to point B. I may need to lower the start area to be more on the ground. And remember, I'm going to have to kind of factor in getting squished by this thing. So, hey, we're going to have to figure that out. Now, let's set up some enemies here as obstacles for our character to fight. We're just going to come into characters, enemies, come into our chompers here, and we're going to give it maybe little guard chompers that they have to fight to access this boss. So we'll place 2 of them here. And we're going to make it so they need to kill both. And we can actually make it a bit of a puzzle. You know, maybe we spread them out more. Maybe this one's hidden over here, and that other one's hidden over there, so that way they have some distance. All right, so if we take a look on the chomper and we come down here to this on death, you'll see there's an empty category. We can add a command here by hitting plus, and that's going to add a slot, but we need something to input into here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down to add component on our actual little critter here, and we're going to search for a send command option here. So you can see we have this option to send game command. And we can go ahead and attach that to the actual quest chomper. Now, what we want to switch this to is interactive type. We're going to set to active. Remember, if it was a door, we'd set it to open, but in this case, we want it set to active. For the interactive object, we're going to actually set in our counter, which I named boss quest. I probably should have named it counter. And we're going to set that to one shot. So what that's going to do is it's going to make it so this activates one time when this dies. Now, to get this to activate on death, we can just drag this up into the input from down here to the on death slot. So what that will do is it will activate that, sending the command to our boss quest, and I'm going to add counter to that, so that way it knows that's part of the quest. Okay, so let's come over here to our other chomper and do the same thing. We're going to add our other quest chomper here. We can go ahead and just add in a send game command. We can go ahead and input our counter, and we are sending active, one shot. And since we already have this other chomper over here that's kind of guarding this door, why don't we make him part of the quest sequence too? I'm going to pull him out of my hierarchy all the way down to the bottom here. And we're going to add this guy as quest chomper 3. So he has purpose. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just add same game command, active. Go ahead and grab that boss counter. Make sure that death is a slot, and we'll send that over. All right, so let me make sure those are all set up. I didn't do the death slot on the second one, so let's get that set. And those should all be good. Now what we need to do is we need to set the boss counter here to work, right? So the interactive type is activate. We're going to set that to one shot. We're going to do the same thing down here. And remember, what we want this to do is grab this moving platform. So let's go ahead and take the moving platform, input it into here in the interactive type. That should give us everything we need. Target count 3. Quest type set up. Remember the target count here. I'm using 3 chompers, so if you're using 2, input that as 2. And then in the moving platform, we need to make sure that it's set up to do ping pong. I don't think we need the one shot. We don't need the activate. That should be good. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a test and see if it all worked or if we missed something. lot of little steps here. So now my quest is to kill these 3 chompers. I'm going to finish with that one since visually it will make the most sense for us to check. And if we were actually designing a game level, we can make this more logical. There's my little chomper. Whack that guy. Oh, I did him first. I meant to do him last. Either way, we can see that isn't active yet. Let's try this. Boop. And that. So now that should be activating, but it did not. So we are missing something here. So let's go ahead and backtrack. There is one thing I do want to make sure. I keep turning off my nav mesh. Let's enable that again before we're done. But let's double check this. So where did we go wrong? We have the boss counter. We're sending an activate. We're sending a one-shot. We're doing it on death. Okay. So all those are set up correctly. And our quest here is sending an activate to the moving platform. Maybe the issue is this isn't set to one shot. And I think the issue is on these, we didn't tell it what to do on death. You see, we did no function here. So we need to come to send game command, and we need to switch this to actually send. So inside of here, we're going to want to select send. And we're going to want to do that for all 3 of these. So send game command, send, and send game command, send. Okay, so that should be working. Let me go ahead and re-enable my nav mesh that I keep turning off. Let's bake that so these guys can actually have some freedom and interact with these new elements. And let's see if we can't get to that boss now with our little boss quest. All right, so we'll go across. Don't die on accident. I'm going to do that one last because it makes the most sense. We're going to boop that guy, and finally we got this little guy over here. Give him a whack, and there we go. We're on our way to fight the boss. All right, cool. So you can see our little quest worked. We can do that exact same thing if we want to be able to open doors, activate switches, whatever we want. I do need to find a way to make it so I can't be pushed into the ground by that. So, hey, something to think about. But we have set up a quest with interacting with kills. So pretty cool, a bit more advanced there. You can definitely experiment. Hopefully you're starting to see how all these things interconnect and connect, and hopefully you can start coming up with your own ideas. All right, so that's going to wrap up today's tutorial on creating quest-driven actions triggered by killing enemies in Unity. You've learned how to set up quest enemies, manage counters, add game commands for interactive gameplay. If you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more Unity tips and tricks.